Look at, let's go depth chart first. And this isn't in writing because these are just ways that we line them up based on how competitive they've been in the off season. At X, you'll have Malcolm Williams and Greg Timmons. The tight end would be Greg Smith and Ahmad Howard. You got Trey Graham. We're also moving. You got Barrett Matthews that's going to play H-back and tight end because instead of just using a fullback, we'll have some two-back concepts with a quarterback under the center in the spring, and it'll go back to the H-back will be our fullback. So it can be a fullback, H-back, who would be a wing that motions back and forth like you see in the NFL a lot, or he could be a tight end. So Barrett Matthews is in that group. You're also looking at Dominic Jones, who will not play defensive end this spring. He's moving over to H-back, fullback, tight end, and he will be fun for us to watch. At the same time, we're taking all of our big backs that are tailbacks, and they'll continue to be tailbacks, but they also will cross-train at the H-back position. So Cody Johnson is a guy that will play tailback, but he will also play H-back. He's played some fullback for us. You start looking at Chris Whaley. He's a guy that will play tailback, but he's 250, 60 pounds. I mean, he's really big. He can play H-back as well as that group. So that'll be really interesting for us to watch and see how those things tie together. Even though 45% of the NFL now is in the shotgun, we do feel like that we want to keep our shotgun runs, but limit them. Not have a package where we felt like the zone read would be huge for Garrett, because it never was great for Colt. He did it in some games, but it was great for Vince. So we also found out that more of our explosive plays over the last 2 years have been with the quarterback under the center. The percentage of explosive plays has been better. So we'll move our backs around some. We will have our quarterback under the center more. We will use more play-action pass with our running game, but we also do not want to get into a position where we throw out our passing game. It has been so good. So we'll still have our 3 and 4 wideouts. We will still be up-tempo and try to go no huddle. So there will not be changes from those standpoints. We just want to run the ball more and run the ball better. In 2005, we averaged 250 yards rushing and 250 yards passing. And that's what we would like to do every game. You'd like to be 50-50. And then if there's too many around the line of scrimmage, you'd like to be able to throw it 60%. And if there's just giving you the run, you'd like to be able to run it 60%. So that's what we're working back towards. Without getting into all the depth chart, James Kirkendall would be starting at wide receiver, Brett Mitchell at right tackle, Michael Huey at right guard, David Snow at center, Trey Allen at left guard, Kyle Hicks at left tackle, John Childs at flanker. The sub-B position is the one that James Kirkendall is playing. You'd have Trey Newton lining up at tailback. He'd be backed up by Fozzie and by you've got Cody and Vondrell. We do think that Vondrell may have some new life in Cody with more downhill runs because that's what they were used to in high school. The B, sub-B, is when the fullbacks split out. The B position for us, or H, would be a fullback, or H-back, which would be Barrett Matthews and Dominic Jones, and our big backs. Mason Walters will not participate this spring. We've talked about that. That should be on your list. And we really need to do a great job of looking at those young linemen because we lose 4 of the 5 offensive linemen for next year. So this backup offensive line and the ones we're signing this year and the next year will be key as far as stepping up and trying to make sure that we can continue in the offensive line with older guys. We also said the goal for spring got to run the ball better, get our backs alignments and pass back down because it will be a different type running game. Identify the starters who can step up and help us the most. Each year we go through, it's like a draft, and all of our coaches get in different rooms, and they take the guys on their side of the ball, and they actually write down who they feel like the most important player on offense or defense is, and they have a point system, and the guy with the most points, they give to me the list, and then I can go back over it and see who I feel like my opinion would be, because I do the same. And we match up and see who the coaches trust the most, and we tell the players that, and then basically show them some of that. Defensively, you've got Okafor and Eddie Jones at the buck. You've got the three technique, Howell and Higgins. You've got the nose guard, Keyston Randall, Derek Johnson, Sam Acho and Mims at the other end, Dravante Johnson and Nakapra at Sam, Ernest and Tariq Allen at Mike, Keenan Robinson and Ryan Robeson at Will, and Jared Norton will be limited at the first of spring as well. I think he's probably on the list, isn't he, John? So that's why he's not listed in this group. Christian Scott at safety. He and Vaccaro and Wells will alternate at safety along with Blake. Curtis Brown and A.J. Williams will be at the left corner. They'll alternate. And Shockey Brown and A.J. White, the young freshman, will be at the other corner. And Aaron Barnett will be involved, but again, because he is he's limited with how much he can hit, then he will not be listed in the two deep to start with. Defensively, we felt like that we need to do a better job in the red zone. Those are things that we did really well 2 years ago. We didn't do near as good a job this year. We wanted to continue and be a big play defense, score on defense, and force the turnovers that we did this year. Because for whatever reason, it was so much better than last year. And we need to do a better job defensively of defending two-back running teams. And we feel like the fact that we will have a two-back running game now will really help our defense in the fact that they have to line up and stop it every day as well. Kicking game, you're starting over in a lot of areas. You've got you lose your snapper. Nobody ever knows the snapper's name unless he messes one up, so nobody knew Will Harvey's name. And that was really good because Will snapped every ball good for his 4 years at Texas. So you've got 2 or 3 young guys that will be snapping. We try to get them work in the ball games, but you never get them as much work as you want to. Then you've got to come up with a new holder. Jordan's held every ball for about the last 4 years. And then you've got to come up with a punt returner because you lost Earl and Jordan, both of your top punt returners. You've got to go back and look at kickoff returns because you've got to see DJ Monroe is on that list, I think. He's limited with a hamstring. So we got to find some. We really need 4 to 6 guys on kickoff returns because those guys get hurt some. We would look early at Justin Tucker taking Hunter Lawrence's place as our kicker, because he gets it up really high, and it's one of the things like in the Nebraska game we like so much about Hunter is that his ball jumped up and was very, very hard to block. The one that got blocked against Colorado was very, very poor protection. It had nothing to do with Hunter. And then you also look at John Gold and Justin Tucker in the punting area. And then we signed the young man, Will Russ, who can do both of them. Right now, you would like to see Justin kick field goals and kick off, and you would like to see John be able to handle more of the punting duties so you could take some of that pressure off of Justin. We're looking at trying to figure out what scheme would be best for the 2 punters. John's got a great leg, so we're going to try to use a protection that we haven't used before that's halfway between the rugby punt and the regular punt. We'll slide protection so we can go right or left because it's something we found that's easier to protect. The one that was blocked this year was a personnel problem. It wasn't the protection problem. And we feel like that it's something that we'll look at this spring to see what we can do as well. And we also